Hello.
What the fuck was that?
Hello.
Anyway, so today it's Dominic Black on cross-examination. So, I can only just hope that Kyle's lawyers rip him to shreds, because he's very clearly been lying.
Oh, yeah.
He's a big lying pants on fire poop mess.
We need a bigger podium. Space. Dominic, excuse me, Mr. Black, I apologize. You knew Kyle Rittenhouse through his sister, Mackenzie.
Yes.
And when you were 18, 19, you were dating Mackenzie.
Yes.
And you and Kyle were good friends.
Yes.
And you referred to each other as brothers.
Yes.
And you talked about Kyle taking the gun out of your father's basement without permission. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And so up until that point, according to your testimony, you knew nothing about Kyle taking the gun down to car source that night.
No, I was definitely aware of it. I kind of never really went into the inside my mind. I never really clicked that, like, hey, he shouldn't have that.
No, what I'm getting at is...
Yes it did, because he never asked that.
Yeah.
He never asked that. Oh, God, Dominic, what a way to hang yourself on the stand.
is whether it clicked at that point or not. It's your testimony to these 20 people from Kenosha County that you didn't know about it until he brought it up from the basement on August 25th.
Oh, yes.
You agree with that statement?
Yes.
Okay. Then, can you tell me why earlier in the date you guys did go to Jelensky's, correct?
Yes.
You drove to Jelensky's.
Well, this was after he had brought the gun up.
That's not what you're...
No, that's not what you said. You said... Oh, look at Binger's face. Look at his face. He's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
You said that you went... So you went out... Hang on, no, wait, was it? That was it. Wait, he went out. They came back.
Yeah.
Went out to Doodads, and then went back again, and then went out to the town.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that the one that was? Was that not what it was?
Yeah, I think it was that.
Because it wasn't as if they went out, looked at all the damage, and then went to the shop, and then went back home. And they didn't go to that place where they bought ammunition before they went into the town. It was like its own separate trip.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
That's what I'm like. So they went out, saw the damage, went back, went to the ammo place, picked up ammo, went back, and then went out.
Yeah.
Which is just a huge waste of petrol.
Testimony was on direct examination.
That's how it went.
Okay, so he brings the gun up, you go to Jelensky's, and then go right downtown. That's what your testimony is in cross-examination.
Yes.
Okay. Whose idea was to go to Jelensky's?
I don't recall.
Uh-huh.
But you said Kyle went into Jelensky's alone.
Yes.
And you don't know why he was going into Jelensky's?
I knew why he was going in there.
Okay, why?
To get a sling.
Okay, and then out of the...
But if you didn't know, what? Oh, he's smarmy.
goodness of his heart, he bought you one?
The plan was for both of us to get one.
Okay, so you knew he was going there to get slings, correct?
Yes.
You didn't tell him not to bring the gun, correct?
No.
Now, Kyle Rittenhouse's gun. This is your gun, correct?
Legally, yes.
And this is an optic on the top of that gun, correct?
Yes.
This optic, does it shoot a laser beam out of it?
Hang on. Look at this this guy. Listen, he's like, move. I have a career to make. He's like, ah, COVID, fuck off.
Out of it, I mean, it projects one inside of it, yes.
Right, but if I were to point this gun, and obviously I can't do it here in a courtroom, but if I were to point this gun at you from here, there would be no red or green dot at your chest.
No.
This is the optic from Kyle Rittenhouse's gun. Do you need to see it?
No.
Do you agree that this is?
Yes.
This does not project a laser dot on you either, correct?
No.
So if someone said Kyle Rittenhouse put a laser from his weapon on their chest, that's impossible, correct?
Correct.
Now,
I don't wonder who said that. Was that Grace? It's Grosskreutz or whatever his name is. Gage Grosskreutz. When he had his arm, you know. Was it that one? Because it was someone.
I don't remember.
There was someone who said it. In fact, okay. It might be not that. It might be the fact that there's a video still, which has a red dot on it. I can't remember. We'll just keep watching.
Mr. Binger asked you about the charges that you currently have pending against you, correct?
Yes.
And those charges are a result of you providing the gun to my client.
Yes.
And each of those is punishable by 6 years in the Wisconsin State Prison, correct?
Yes.
And you're testifying here today, hoping that Mr. Binger will give you consideration on those charges and not send you to prison, correct?
Yes.
And you
Yeah,
just,
well, to be precise, Mr. Binger can't send him to prison. Mr. Binger can prosecute him, and a judge could send him to prison if he's found guilty.
Mr. Binger can make a recommendation of prison.
And yes,
Mr. Binger can make a recommendation of prison, correct?
Yes.
And you're hoping that by you testifying, he doesn't make a recommendation of prison, correct?
Yes.
Ah, well, there's your motive for him lying under oath.
Yeah.
And also, look at Binger's face.
Yeah.
Who does that remind you of? It reminds me of somebody who liked to shit on people's beds as a joke.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, there's nothing. I could just imagine there's like, you know, do 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 in his head.
Yeah.
Hoping that by you testifying, he doesn't make a recommendation of prison, correct?
Yes.
Probation.
There's no really assuming what I get out of this.
There haven't been any promises made. I'm asking you what you're hoping.
I'm hoping for whatever the best is I get. I don't know what it is.
Okay? Your attorney, Mr. Cotton, he's met with you and Mr. Binger and the detectives?
Yes.
When's the last time you guys met?
I want to say a few days before this date.
You didn't meet today?
Well, I mean, yeah, we did meet today.
When's the last time before today? Last week sometime?
Yeah.
Okay. You're aware that I asked your attorney if you'd be willing to meet with me, correct?
No.
No?
Get him. Get him. Get him. Him be God.
August 26th of 2020, you...
What if hang on, does he spend the rest of this time just sat down? I think he does. He's like, I need more desk space for this bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
were... You were at the Antioch Police Department when Kyle turned himself in, correct?
Yes.
And you were interviewed in the early morning hours of August 26th by, I'm fine, Detective Antaranian.
Yes.
And he's the individual who's the second from closest to the jury, correct?
Yes.
You met with him for a little over an hour?
Yeah, it was well over an hour.
And that was when everything was fresh in your memory, correct?
Somewhat. I was very tired.
But it's
Yeah, it was
much
re-
nearer in time than it is today, correct?
Yes.
And you told him on that date, it was audio and videotaped, what you remember, correct?
Yes.
Oh, are we gonna get him?
you remember talking to Detective Antaramian and telling him whose idea it was to go to Car Source to protect the property?
Yes.
Was it, I'm going to give you 3 choices, yours, Kyle's, or Nick Smith's?
Nick Smith's.
When you got to Car Source, after you'd stopped at Jelinski's, you meet with Nick Smith?
Yes.
And you knew that Nick had worked at Car Source?
Yeah.
And he introduced you guys to Sam and to his brother.
I wouldn't say introduced. We had met Sam previously that day, but his brother we had not met.
Sir, I'm showing you what's been marked as Exhibit Defendants 30. Can you tell me what that is?
This is the second location we went to when Sam, I don't remember if it was Sam or his brother, had given us a ride, me, Kyle, and Nick, to the location that would be more north. And that's where we met up with a lot of people that we really didn't know.
Okay, that would be Car Source at 63rd and Sheridan.
The one right down here.
Right here.
Yes.
Sheridan and 63rd,
Okay,
right?
yes.
The far right of that photograph, who is that depicted in the photo?
The far right,
Far left where I'm pointing, I'm sorry.
the co-owner of Car Source,
So is that Sam or is that his brother?
I believe that's his brother.
Okay, where are you in this picture?
The far right,
The far right?
Yes.
Who's standing next to you?
Kyle,
And what's in front of Kyle's feet?
first aid box,
Okay, that's a first aid box that is different from his first aid pack that he wears on his side, correct?
yes.
Where is Nick Smith in this photograph?
He is 2 people to the left of Kyle wearing the white hat.
God. He just looks like a kid. So this is Carl here.
Yeah.
Dominic Black.
So he's got a white hat with a cross on it? Yes?
Yes.
Now, you know the owner, you know Nick, and you know Kyle. Everybody else in that photograph, had you ever seen them before that day?
No.
Did you have any plan of ever meeting up with those individuals to help protect Car Source?
No.
They just came along when you were at Car Source and offered their services to help, correct?
Yes.
Does the name Ryan Balch mean anything to you?
Yes, it's somewhat clear.
Okay. And who is Ryan Balch today to you?
I never really got to meet him a whole lot. He is one of the people that showed up randomly or unexpectedly.
And you talk about you wanting to be on the roof, correct?
Yes.
You told Nick Smith you wanted Kyle to be on the roof, correct?
Yes.
And Nick Smith said, no, we wanted Kyle on the ground
Yes.
because he's a medic and he can provide services, correct?
Yes.
You saw Kyle fix somebody's hand who had a big gash in it.
Yes.
You saw him give aid to a woman who had been shot by a gas ball.
I'm unaware of that.
Okay. You saw Kyle going out with other individuals in that picture, Exhibit 30, and put out some fires, correct?
Yes.
And did you see anybody that evening starting any fires?
Plenty of people.
Plenty of people starting fires?
Yes.
Did you see the individuals who took the trailer from the lot of rubble, put it out in the street, and started on fire?
I did not see that.
You didn't watch that?
No.
You weren't paying attention?
I don't know if I don't remember or if I missed it.
Okay. What about the porta potty?
Yes, I saw that.
Okay. Describe that.
People were tipping over a porta potty and lighting it on fire.
Okay. And you can't, as you sit here today, say who did that, but you know what happened.
Yes.
Okay? And you don't know what Mr. Rosenbaum did or didn't do because you weren't paying attention to him.
Yes.
You don't know whether Mr. Rosenbaum, let me ask it this way, simpler. You know of nothing that happened down at the 63rd Street and Sheridan Road Car Source.
No.
Couldn't see it,
No.
even though you're on the roof.
Yep.
Now, I'll answer it this way. Kyle's phone records have you calling him and sending him down to Car Source 3. You don't dispute that, do you?
I don't remember it.
Wait, I'm not. If his phone records say he got a phone call from Nick Smith, you don't dispute that,
Not exactly, no.
okay? And the whole idea was to send Kyle down to Car Source 3, the 63rd Street Car Source, because you guys had received a report that the people who were supposed to be protecting it had left, correct?
Yes.
And the property was being destroyed.
Yes.
You didn't know that Kyle had been separated from Mr. Balch at that point.
I did not.
So you tell him to go down there and protect that property because the cars are being bashed in, correct?
Yes.
It was either you or Nick Smith.
Yes.
And from where you were, you could see Kyle going down in that direction.
Yes.
And it wasn't the second he goes down there, you hear shots. He goes out of your view, there's a fairly lengthy period of time, you hear a gunshot, and then you hear a series of more gunshots, correct?
Yes.
And you, from where you were, could not see what happened to Kyle at the second incident, correct?
Yes.
Did not see.
I did not see.
And eventually, Kyle comes back in to your vision, correct?
Yes.
What did you observe Kyle doing as he approached? Well, let me ask you this. Where was he first?
Where I first saw him was kind of against a tree line. It was more in front of the Ultimate gas station. And I saw him walking with his gun hanging down, and he had his hands up, and then I watched him walk up to a police car and then step away.
Okay.
And then
Describe what he's doing as he's going up to that police car.
I can't hear anything, but I could tell he was yelling.
Okay.
I don't know what he was yelling.
Where
but,
were his hands?
In the air.
Okay. And you saw him walk up to the police car.
Yes.
You don't hear anything, but does Kyle stay and go up to the car? What's his next movement?
He walks up to the car, and very quickly he jumps back.
Okay, like somebody told him to get back?
Yeah.
Because he walked up there voluntarily, correct?
Yes.
And then he quickly steps back.
Yes.
And he then makes his way back to car source number 2, correct?
Yes.
And he goes to that location, and you guys meet up outside. You come down the ladder.
Yes, I come down the ladder. By the time I had got inside the building, he was already sitting in there.
Okay.
So they had to open the doors for him and let him in.
Okay. And you described him on August 25th, the morning of the 26th, I apologize, to Detective Antaramian as sweating like a pig. Do you remember using those words?
Yes.
White as a ghost?
Yes.
And hysterical.
Yes.
He told you he shot somebody.
Yes.
Told you he had to shoot somebody.
Yes.
It was self-defense.
Yes.
Hadn't met with a lawyer, correct?
Correct.
Hadn't talked with anybody about his story. He's telling you right that day what happened.
Yes.
And you don't want to take him to the Kenosha Police Department, correct?
Yes.
Why not?
It's impossible.
You can't get to it, correct?
Yeah, you can't.
And if you guys walked up there with guns, you'd be a target, correct?
Yeah.
And you agree to go home to Kyle's residence, and he'll turn himself into the police there.
Yes.
And he did turn himself into the police.
Yes.
An hour and a half after you finally saw him at the car source, correct?
About that time, yes.
1:20 a.m. That's what the video shows. You don't dispute that.
No.
And you talk about discussions whether or not he should leave. That was his mother who was making those discussions, correct?
Yes.
Kyle wanted to turn himself in, correct? Yes?
Yes.
And he did.
Yes, he did.
And
What? What?
They making a spaghetti monster out of my brain.
Why would... Isn't that some sort of crime from doing that? His mother suggesting that he leaves, like he flees to one of their properties. Isn't that some sort of crime?
Yeah, it's like hiding.
Aiding and abetting a fugitive,
Yeah.
or something. We're not American. The fucking vernacular's not there. Something.
Yeah, it's like aiding or hiding. Oh, I almost said refugee, but
Don't think it's that. But what? What? Could you imagine your mother doing that?
oh no, fuck me! If I have done something, it can be bet your ass. It would.
She'd drag you down to that police
Oh,
station.
oh yeah. She would literally. She'd get my ear, you know,
Yeah.
and she would drag me the entire way. Or go behind me with a iron pan and like
Iron.
iron pan and like Yeah.
See, whereas my parents, they'd call the police before I even had a chance.
Yeah, yeah.
So that I did some shit that I didn't do. Families.
Eventually, you were asked to come down to the police department, correct?
Yes.
And when you were asked to come down to the police department, you brought the guns.
No. The police had met us there at the apartment, and then they took them.
Okay. And then you drive then down to the police department.
Yes.
With Kyle's two sisters.
Yes. No. Yeah, I believe so.
And shortly after you get there, that's when that first interview happens with you, correct?
Yes.
And at that point, you are worried about the fact that you had given Kyle the gun, correct?
Yes.
And you talked to your girlfriend, his sister, at the police department and asked about coming up with a story to protect you regarding the guns, correct?
I do not remember that.
If she said it happened, you wouldn't disagree, correct?
I would disagree.
Okay. And Detective Antaramian asking you a question on the morning of the 26th. So when did you first see the gun? You. About when we were getting into the car, when we walked outside the house. Detective Antaramian. Okay. Did you talk to him about it at all? No. I had a lot of stuff on my mind. Do you remember that exchange?
Yes.
So that's different from what he just said now.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, they're told, if you give a statement to the police, it's, you might not be in a court of law, but if you've lied, that's a criminal offence in itself.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, it seems more like, with the fact that Amber has been allowed to get away with her fucking lies, it seems more like that they take lying to the police more seriously than lying to a court.
Yeah.
So, what?
Okay. Nothing bad had happened at that point, correct?
Correct.
So what did you have on your mind that was interfering with you saying, hey, Kyle, don't take the gun?
Kind of scared to go down there, not knowing what to expect.
Just, you wanted Kyle to have the gun, correct?
That wasn't really an opinion in my mind at all.
You wanted a gun.
Personally, for myself, yes.
You had no objection or voiced no objection to Kyle, your brother, having the gun, correct?
It wasn't a thought in my mind.
Well, he walks out of the house with an AR-15, and you don't say boo, correct?
I didn't say anything, correct?
And you had the ability to speak.
Yes.
If you wanted to object, you could have said something to Kyle, correct?
Yes, I could have.
And you didn't.
No.
Because you wanted him to have the gun for protection.
Not that reason exactly.
You wanted a gun for protection.
Yes.
Statement that you. This is a statement that you made to Detective Antaramian on the morning of the 26th. But that's what I knew of it. Basically, we go down there and we walk up, and it's coincidental. We walk up and there's Sam, and I'm like, oh, Sam, I just met you not long ago or whatever. And he gives Nick keys to the building and showed him where the ladder was, correct?
Yes.
You guys had permission to be there.
Yes.
He wanted you to protect his property.
Yes.
And he wanted protection at the 59th Street address and the 63rd Street address.
Yes.
And once you found out there wasn't any protection at the 63rd Street address, you sent Kyle down there, correct?
Yes.
And initially, Nick was acting like he was in control of everything, correct?
Yes.
And he was leading the people from the West Bend area who you didn't know, like he was even the owner of Car Source, correct?
Yes.
He wasn't, correct?
No.
Do you remember telling Detective Antaramian the only person I saw actually help people was Kyle?
Yes.
Because he was, correct?
Yes.
He might not have been a trained EMT, but he was providing first aid.
Yes.
And that big orange box in Exhibit 30 that I showed you, that was the stuff he brought from either his house or his employment, correct?
I'm not too sure where that came from, if I'm being honest.
Okay, but he didn't get all of his medical supplies from you, correct?
From what I saw, that's what to the best of my memory, yes. I'm not 100% certain on.
Your family didn't provide that big orange box in front of Kyle Rittenhouse in the photograph up on the screen, did they?
No.
Do you remember telling Detective Antaramian on the 26th, they just threw the water bottle and then poof? Detective Antaramian, what hurt? Did the bottle hit you? You, no. It was actually, I was on the roof, but the wind was blowing towards me, so it was a bunch of, just like a tear gas bomb, just a bunch of smoke in the air. It came towards me, and my eyes started to burn. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So they were throwing gas bombs at you on the roof.
Yes.
There were gas bombs on the ground.
Yes.
Now, do you remember talking to Detective Antaramian about somebody on the roof who was upsetting you because he was taking a laser pointer, not on a gun, but a laser pointer and pointing it at people?
Yes, I do remember.
Okay, that wasn't Kyle, correct? Because he was never on the roof.
Correct.
Now, who was that?
One of the people that came from out of town. He was he was about in mid-30s, I want to say mid-40s. He was on there.
Is he depicted in Exhibit 30? If you have to walk closer, go ahead.
I don't think I see him. No, I don't believe so.
But it was a laser pointer, and the individual would point to demonstrators, rioters, correct?
Yes.
That upset them
Yes.
because it was pointing them out,
Yes.
and it also upset them because they could have thought it was a weapon.
Yes.
And you told him to stop,
Yes.
and he just kept laughing about it.
Yes.
Detective Antaramian asking you on the 26th, okay, anyone have inaudible? Kyle, he disappears out of view. You. Nick somehow finds out that there's nobody there, and there's people trying to break cars. And he tells Kyle and the other dude that he was on the ground with to go over there. So did he tell him this in person or on the phone? Phone. Do you remember that?
It was on the phone.
But you're not sure who called.
Yes, I'm not sure.
Later on in that same interview, you speaking. He was actually on the roof at that point. Nick kept on.
Hang on. Steph, say the comment that you said.
I said right now.
Yeah.
I must be hot in this room. I'm thinking on the
This guy.
sign of the sky head.
It's hair gel.
I never heard of such thing.
What, hair gel?
No, hair gel I have heard of. Hair gel, but I thought it was
You
a joke.
didn't get it.
No.
Because he's bald. Why would he use hair gel? It's...
Ah!
See, this is... See, that might sound fake. That's not. Stefan likes stupid jokes.
He clocked.
I said something else. Is that why you were confused? Because I said something. So, I actually said, yeah, he likes to stand upside down, and just Bing is just there like a bowling ball on either side of his head.
I used to joke about our it's not Prime Minister, but our former ruling party leader.
Yeah.
That you could see on his shine on his ball where the tax money went. He was using oil and souls of the children to shine it.
Anyway, sorry, back to this.
And going up and down, up and down. He called Kyle. Before he called Kyle, he told me, like, there's nobody there. They're trying to set cars on fire. I was like, oh crap. oh crap. And he called Kyle, and he tells him, and then Kyle starts running, and he bolts for it. Do you remember telling the detective that?
Yes, no, I do.
And you stated you saw him run from the gas station, correct?
Yes.
Could you see the fire extinguisher in his hands?
Yes.
Because if you're on the roof of the car source number 2, you're like one block from 60, not one block, less than a half a block from 60th and Sheridan Road, correct?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
You had a clear line of sight directly to the ultimate gas station.
Yes.
Detective Howard, to you on the 26th. What makes Ryan supposed to be with Kyle? Why do you say that? I wouldn't say supposed to, but they were with each other the entire night. Every time Kyle left, so did he. So they were always together.
Yes.
And when they're going out to provide medical attention to people, they're going out with the buddy system. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, that's fair.
And when Kyle would go out and put out fires that were going on, he would go with somebody else, the buddy system, correct?
Yes.
There was a time where he left with the female, Joanne Fiedler, with the white helmet, and went and put out a fire by the church. Do you remember that?
I believe so.
And you stated, so I figured they wanted to team up and go out and help people,
Yes.
telling the detective. This is Detective Antaramian questioning you on the 26th, asking you if you remember this. Okay, so then at some point, you guys, I guess, and I'm not trying to make you look worse, but I want to make sure I'm factually accurate here. I mean, the fact that he buys the sling for his gun, it's likely he's going out to take it with him that night. Well, the intent was to buy a sling for me. Do you remember that exchange?
I do not.
But even Detective Antaramian questioned you about the sling and the timing of it, correct?
Yes.
And how hard was it to attach those slings?
I don't really recall.
Do you remember the detectives wanting your telephone?
My phone?
Yeah.
No, I don't believe so.
Didn't they talk to you? And I'm reading from Detective Howard at that same interview. So we're just going to apply for a search warrant. But absolutely, as it's laid out in that form, you have the right to refuse. Dominic Black. Okay, so I'm not understanding as far as what I believe. I believe I'm going to be here for a while. Okay? And I have not talked to the authorities yet, so I don't know. Do you remember the discussion about that?
Yes, I do.
Okay? And they wanted to download your phone, correct?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
And eventually, you said to him, fine, you can download my phone. I don't have anything to hide.
Yes.
Now, yeah. And that interview regarding the incident regarding your phone, and I'm sorry if I misled you, that was the November 6th incident, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and at that point, you were already under arrest.
Yes.
And the detective, both detectives interviewed you that night.
Yes.
And when you were in that interview, as it was wrapping up, they told you to have your lawyer, who was a different lawyer than Mr. Cotton at the time, reach out to Mr. Binger. He needed to talk to him about working something up.
Yes.
Okay? And from that day, they wanted you as a witness, correct?
I wouldn't necessarily say from that day, no.
Okay? Your trial on your charges was set back in September, correct?
I don't exactly recall.
Let me ask it this way, not trying to trip you up on dates. Your trial on these charges, which Mr. Binger is prosecuting you for, was before today.
Yes.
Okay, about a month and a half ago?
Yes.
Okay. And you, your lawyer, and Mr. Binger walked into this courtroom and asked that the matter be set over until January of 2022,
Yes.
after you testified here today, correct?
Yes.
I'm sorry, but his entire his entire testimony should be thrown out because he very clearly has a motive to lie.
Yeah.
Why would you change it unless there was Nothing quite pisses me off Like, basically, it just essentially... I get so annoyed with it. It's people purposely doing shit. Purposely lying. They know they're lying. They do it. I know it's immature, and I know everyone fucking lies, but it's just like, don't lie to me. Just tell the truth. Ah. I know it's immature, but it just pisses me off. Because it's just like, you're meant to, this is a court of law. You're meant to tell the fucking truth in there. This is why people who tell the truth and are honest, they always get screwed out of shit. And the ones who lie and the ones who get away with their lies, they are much better off. And there is no applause there. He's moving papers.
Yeah.
Before August 25th, 2020, that gun that Kyle Rittenhouse possessed on the night in question had never left the state of Wisconsin, correct?
Wait, what?
That gun that Kyle Rittenhouse...
The Kyle Rittenhouse? Ooh, captions, you are not doing well.
Yeah, and if you have a mind as I do, the pictures, it's like I'm reading the captions, and my mind is painting up pictures, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it take it quite literally. So.
Is there hoof prints all over a house?
I see a cow with an AR.
You know what I see? A cow in like a courthouse. It just says Rittenhouse. It's just in there, walking around.
Is that what you call a militant vegan?
Militant vegan? What? Cow?
Vegan. A cow.
What, a militant vegan?
Yeah.
Cow with a gun?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not a vegan, so...
Possessed on the night in question, had never left the state of Wisconsin, correct?
Correct.
And you guys had the gun, and you took it to Illinois so he could turn himself into the police.
Yes.
Okay. And you and Kyle did the taking off graffiti, correct?
Yes.
And that was in the late morning, right around lunchtime of the 25th, correct?
Correct.
And in that photograph is you, your stepfather, and your girlfriend, Mackenzie, correct?
Which photograph?
The photograph of this photograph right here.
My stepfather isn't in that picture.
He's not in that one?
No, it'd be my brother, and then Kyle and Mackenzie.
Okay, so you are where?
Hang on. Is that him?
That might have been when I left to go get like the sandpaper.
Okay. And Kyle's wearing the olive green shirt with his hat turned backwards?
Yes.
And who's that standing next to him?
Mackenzie?
Okay. And you guys had spent the night before.
That's his sister there? No. She looks like a child.
There must be 2 sisters.
Well, he does have 2 sisters. The one who's not in the courtroom is Mackenzie, which I find very sus. God, she's short. Jesus.
At your dad's house, correct?
I'm not aware of where he slept. I don't really remember.
Could have slept at your house?
He could have.
Okay. And Mackenzie slept at your house that night.
I'm not aware. I can't remember.
Do you remember watching live streams of the riots?
No, I do not.
Did your dad talk to you about the riots and that's the reason he got the guns out?
He did previously that night, yes.
Do you remember him talking to you as you told the detectives that there was a plan to board up the windows if the rioters came?
Yes.
Okay. So all that was going on, you're aware of it.
Yes.
And when you guys are target shooting up north, There was nothing strange about that, correct?
No.
Kyle handled the gun appropriately,
Yes.
and he shot at those small little, you're saying clay pigeons?
Yes.
About 4 inches in diameter?
Yep.
You shot at the same things?
Yes.
Nothing out of the ordinary?
No.
I have nothing further, sir. Thank you.
Redirect.
We'll watch redirect of
I want
one
to pick
as
up
well.
where that left
Yeah.
off there. It sounds like there was a plan with your father to have the guns available, board up windows, and protect the house that you live in. Is that right?
Yes.
But you decided on the night of the 25th to leave home and go downtown to protect Car Source. Is that right?
Yes.
Why didn't you stay at home? Protect your house.
The riots had been going on for a while. The house had been ready to be boarded up. All the guns have been out for, I want to say, ever since the riots started, and nothing happened. I felt that the house would be safe.
The timing of all this, if I understand you correctly, is on Tuesday afternoon, late afternoon, 4 o'clock or so, about is when you and the defendant take the guns from your house and come downtown.
Yes.
Is that about right?
Yes.
You were somehow aware of stuff that had happened on Monday night and on Sunday night, right?
Yes.
That's part of the reason why you went downtown.
Yes.
But you decided at 4 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon there was no danger to your house that night?
I mean, I kind of figured, it's not just me that would be staying at the house. I have a lot of brothers that live there. It wasn't entirely my responsibility to make sure that the house was safe. I felt that it was safe. Nobody was going to harm the house. Nothing in the area had happened.
Okay. On this particular evening, when you're at the Car Source at 59th and you're up on the roof, where was Nick Smith during that evening?
He was up and down. So he was on the ground, he was on the roof, he was inside the building.
Did he ever have a gun that night?
I believe so. To the best of my memory, I think he did.
Do you remember if he had it the whole evening or just a short period of time?
I don't remember.
Is it fair to say that Nick Smith stayed at that location physically the whole night?
Yes.
And you did too?
Yes.
You've been asked by me, you've been asked by Attorney Richards, several variations of the same question, and I don't know that I think we've got some...
Don't comment on the witness's answer.
Who told the defendant to go to 63rd Street Car Source?
I'm not 100% certain.
At any point that evening, did you personally receive information from any other person that there were problems at the 63rd Street Car Source?
The only person I figured that out from was Nick Smith.
Do you know where he got that information?
I do not.
To your knowledge, did he physically ever go down to 63rd Street after you got to 59th, when he finally got all set up? Did he ever leave later in the evening to go check and see what was happening at 63rd Street Car Source in person?
No.
You said at some point in the evening someone up on the roof was using a laser pointer to aim at the crowd. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we're talking about something like this, shining it on a person. Is that right?
Yes, but a lot bigger.
Okay. Was it your understanding that the people who had this pointed at him felt like that was a gun
Yes.
pointed at him? You're telling us that it wasn't actually a gun, but the people on the ground thought it was.
Yes.
And you were upset by that.
Yes.
Why?
Because he shouldn't be doing that. There's no reason for it. And it's drawing attention toward us.
Did you feel that it wasn't appropriate for anyone on the roof or on the ground to be pointing a gun at anyone?
No, I didn't really feel like that was necessary at all.
Maybe I misstated my question. Let me just make sure I'm clear on that. Would you agree with me that it was not appropriate for the members in your group to be pointing their guns at people?
Yes.
Okay. You mentioned earlier, when I was asking you questions, that someone was throwing rocks. You said in response to Mr. Richards' questions that someone was throwing some sort of water bottle or gas bomb up on the roof. Is that right?
Yes.
When these folks were doing these things to you and the other members of your group, did you point a gun at anyone?
No.
Did you fire at anyone?
No.
Why not?
Because there's no need to.
Did you feel that by these people throwing rocks at you or throwing a gas bomb at you, that you were in danger?
Pain, yes, but not danger. I knew it wasn't going to kill me.
So you felt like it wasn't enough to use deadly force?
Correct.
You were asked some questions about the discussions that you and I have had during the lead up to this case. Have I ever put any words in your mouth?
No.
What was the number one rule that I told you that I wanted from you when you testified?
Nothing but the truth.
Final question I have for you. Those slings, you were asked about how hard those slings were to attach to your body. And I forget, what did you say about that?
I don't truly remember.
Once they were attached to your body, did they hold that gun sort of dangling in front of you?
Yes.
Could we show the photograph of them at case number 30, the one you just used? Okay. Yeah, I'll that's okay. I'm going to show you, Mr. May I approach on? I've got this photograph that you've already seen. It's exhibit number 30, and it's showing you and the other individuals at the 63rd Street car source. Is that right?
Yes.
Are you wearing the sling in that photograph?
Yes, it appears.
And is that sling holding that gun in the front portion of your body?
Yes.
Does the defendant have his sling on with his gun being held similar to you?
Yes.
Was that sling strong enough to hold the weight of that gun?
Yes.
Was that sling strong enough so that if someone tried to pull that gun away, the gun would be held to your body?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
Can you redirect or recross rather?
I would move exhibit 30 into evidence.
Is there an objection?
No.
Received.
Hang on. It's just. Where he says, I never made any promises to you. Hang on. What was the number thing that I wanted from you? Nothing but the truth. Uh-huh. Sure. Let's just remove the hypothetical gun that's being pointed at his life. Honestly, just a pile of trash.
You may step down, sir. Let's take a break.
Okay. Oh, I think there's actually
Let's
some
aim
videos.
for about 20 after. Please don't talk about the case during the break.
Look at how young he looks there. Oh, God.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but the aide that they are helping them, she looks exactly like a former teacher like I had.
Is that the one you had a crush on?
No. And this one was doing some shamanism stuff.
But what type of fucking school did you go to?
Oh no, that was her private hobby stuff.
God, he looks so young. Because obviously he's not allowed to leave the courtroom. His attorneys, both the team that he had, they really looked after him. I'm pretty sure there's videos. Is there? Yeah. But wait, what? Is this in a thing? I'm very confused. What is this? Is there talking? No? Oh, see that? That's what Amber could see every time Johnny imaginarily hit her.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm gonna put that on for the next time. I'll leave it. You are a fucking liar. Like, he's very clearly lying.
Oh, yeah.
There's nowhere, he's so obviously lying. It's like, he doesn't have to, for fuck's sake.
He's lying that hard. It's almost as he took lessons by Amber.
Well, see, the thing is, as well, is that I don't actually think his statement was given much consideration by the jury because it was so obvious that he lied.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you can't have his testimony have any relevance because it didn't match what he said to the police that night. It didn't match on cross or direct. It just didn't. None of it matched. I mean,
No.
he's more inconsistent than fucking Amber's sister was. for those pissing pictures. Anyway, shall we be done?
Yeah.
Right, well, yeah, we'll see you for the next video, which is, I guess, Corey Washington? I don't know who that is. This guy. But yeah, so that'll be in the next video.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll see you then. Leave any comments if you have any down below. If you don't, then enjoy whatever you do. Stay hydrated. Wear sunscreen.
Don't trust seagulls and don't poop in the bed.
The seagulls are back, are they? Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.